training will have no impact. And the consequence is that those who are there to be trained, the trainees, definitely there will be absolutely nothing learned. And at the end of the day, when they go back, there is nothing to take home, but there is nothing to write home about, because what they were expected to learn was not learned as a result of the method selected. That is why selecting the appropriate method has an impact on creating transformation in the lives of the trainees. We also have the audio-visual technique or techniques. It helps to improve communication skills. We have hands-on method. Hands-on method like on-the-job training, case studies. There are certain things that also we learn in schools. But when you go to the working environment, you'll see something a little bit different from what you've learned. So on-the-job training enhance your capacity. Case studies. We reference cases. We make references to cases in order to enhance or to transmit information to others. So you see, with the aspect of these are components of the traditional method, but we still embrace them and they are still important today. We look at e-learning and the use of technology in training. Definitely, we all can attest that technology aids training. When you look at the traditional method, the way we used to learn, the lecture method, and some other methods in our countries, in our different countries, it was actually difficult to absorb, to be abreast with certain concepts. But with technology, you can easily, particularly with regards to research, you can easily gather information in a twinkle of an eye without moving to another place. But before gathering certain data, except you move from one destination to another. But there are so many things that we can access through the internet. So what could be the benefit? Employees can gain control over when and where they receive the training. Access to knowledge is not a difficult thing. Particularly like virtual learning and some other aspect of learning. You can be here and the tutor may be in somewhere in another part of the country or in another part of the world, and you're learning, conveniently understanding whatever bits he or she explains. So technology aids us in the learning process. We look at developing employees. If I may mitigate a little bit, consider the hassle of what I am talking about, developing employees' capacity or empowering the 21st century labor force towards transforming developing countries, towards transforming developing countries through addressing challenges. There is no way we can address challenges. There is no way we can forestall, or there is no way we can accelerate the growth of an institution or of a country without training. With regards to development, we look at formal education. So many people have perception that the only way you can learn except you go through the formal way of educating, or except you go through formal education. There are people who learn without formal education, but today they are specialists, they are experts. But actually, with regards to employee development, that could be a requirement towards employee development, an aspect of formal education. It talks about the design of programs. Design of programs. Programs that deals with specific issues in order to address specific concerns in industries or in companies or in countries. And also we look at assessment. Talks about the collection of information and also the aspect of feedback about employees' behavior. Job experience. There are times, as I said earlier, there are certain things that you never learned before because what you may have learned in class is not sufficient to make you outstanding. During the process of working, there are certain skills that you develop. There are certain things that you learn on the job. And also interpersonal relationship. Through interactions, you learn through interactions. There are certain people who serve as mentor. And through your interaction with them, you learn a lot. So learning also, development can also, human development or human resource development can also happen as a result of interpersonal relationship. Now, we have some amount of training. We've developed skills through training. We want to look at evaluating the training and transferring the training. What you've learned. What is the impact of what you've learned? What is the impact of what you've learned? Because any learning process that does not have impact, because the focus on positive impact. We don't engage in training to think about negative impact. We focus on positive impact. We are here to develop our capacity, go back to our countries to make sure that we improve what has not been improved. So with the aspect of evaluating training, it's an assessment to examine what you've learned, if actually it has an impact. We look at what you've learned, if actually it has an impact, because the impact is to create an advantage. Interesting about the aspect of competitive advantage. That's what is happening in the world. Every country is working towards gaining competition. Every country is working towards leading. China is moving towards leading. And those who have been there have been triggered. Because there's one thing to gain an advantage in a competition. And there's another thing to sustain the level you've attained. Because once you realize that the one who is pursuing you is very close to you, definitely you'll be triggered to do more. So in the aspect of competitive advantage, America and others see themselves as the high class, as they've reached the pace. But China is moving, and now they are triggered. So you see, also other developing countries, they are working towards leading. Every country has the desire to be the leading country in the world, including my country. Let's face reality. Every country, your desire is for your country to be the leading country. So you see, others who have led and who are still leading realize that there are people who are coming. So let's work very hard to make sure that we retain, and retaining that level is a difficult task. So when we evaluate what we've learned, we have the formative evaluation aspect. Then we have the summative evaluation aspect. But I'm just looking at it in a narrow scope. When you evaluate what you've learned, you need to see the relevance of what has been taught or what has been learned to be a positive impact towards what exactly you are asked to do. The evaluation process. You conduct needs analysis. Develop measurable learning objectives. Develop outcomes. Choose an evaluation strategy and plan and execute the evaluation. What exactly the training we've conducted, what is its relevance towards the task at hand? What is its relevance towards the task at hand? Because there are certain times when people's capacities are developed for a particular thing, and then at the end of the day, what they are trained for is not what they are commissioned to do. And that's what also is happening with regards to our structures in our country. Developing countries are sending people overseas to other countries to develop their capacity, but on their return, those who study electronics, they will be working in a place that has no dealings with electronics. Those who study accounting will be found in an agricultural domain, not necessarily practicing accounting. So if we develop people's capacity, we want to see the relevance of what they've been taught. We want to see the impact, the realities of what they've learned visibly. Because, as I said earlier, acquiring knowledge is important, but it will be more meaningful if it is utilized and if it creates a positive impact in the utilization process. So that is why the evaluation process is necessary. I'm taught that you need to evaluate in order to substantiate the knowledge or the capacity he or she has acquired as relevance, as a positive impact towards accelerating the growth of our country. But unfortunately, there are at times it turns out to be the negative. And the big question is why? In our developing countries, we are unjust in the selection or in delegation of political appointment. Most times it's compensation. And when there is compensation, it means there are square pegs in round holes. It means there are people who are offered positions they are not qualified for. Most times when we talk about qualification, we talk about paper qualification. People perceive master's degree as a qualification. We only focus on academic qualification. When we talk about qualification, from the human resource point of view, it's looked at in a wide spectrum. Experience, it's part of qualification. Innovation, it's part of qualification. It's a lot. There is a lot of issues within qualification. So you see, like you evaluate the process. If the process has relevance to what exactly the person has been taught, if it creates impact, the outcome, evaluation outcome, the content, you look at the facilities, the trainers, and the content used. And also, what was taught? Are the trainees familiar with the fact, familiar with the techniques, the procedures? Because it's not just about delivery, but what exactly is the trainees? What's the perception of the trainees? Then you look at the result of what you've learned, and what you've learned, you look at the next step is return on investment. Return on investment is what you've acquired can now be invested. Initially, they invested in you to develop a capacity. So the return, what's the return? What's the impact of the return? So all what you've learned should now be transferred, should be implemented. That's what we call now the implementation process, the implementation phase. What China sent people to go and study abroad to acquire knowledge. They come back to what? To transfer what they've learned so that development will be accelerated. We look at the aspect of addressing challenges. What are the challenges in the development process? The impediments to economic development. We look at natural resources, efficiency, human capital, agriculture, population growth, cultural barriers, domestic savings, infrastructure, foreign debt. The resource talks the natural resources. There are certain countries who are blessed with natural resources, but the management of those natural resources is a serious problem. And the management stems from inefficiency, because if the people that are supposed to manage the resources are not efficient, definitely it's a problem. And also that also has a relationship with the human capital. If it's not well composed, not well fortified, there is no way one could be efficient to manage those resources. The aspect of agricultural operations. Some countries neglect the aspect of agriculture, and it has a very big contribution towards developing a country. Population growth. The increase in population also at times stagnates the growth process of a country. Cultural barriers and the like. Addressing development challenges. Let's develop the human capital. Let's manage human capital effectively and efficiently. Let's formulate sound policies and implement them. Not only to implement them, let's also effect mobilization of resources and also the judicious utilization of those resources. Finally, let's monitor. If we are implementing, let's monitor. Let's supervise. And then at the end of the day, we need to be accountable of what we've implemented.